It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is a favorite of mine. It's the Scream, Man in the Moon acoustic by none other than John Corabi on vocals and Bruce Kulick on guitar. And on the phone, we've got John Corabi. Welcome back to the Classic Metal Show there, John.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're always welcome on the show. Last time I had you on the show, you were doing kind of a promotional acoustic thing for Gibson, was it?
Yeah, I worked. Well, it was weird. They contacted me and asked me if I would be into just kind of traveling around and visiting music stores and playing acoustic for them. So I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Can't go wrong with that. To get to play an acoustic guitar and in music stores, meet people, and get paid for it.
Sure, absolutely. So would you say that that was sort of what inspired you to do this acoustic record?
No, honestly, if you go back and look at my career and all the records that I've done, if you really look at all the records, you'll see that there's probably at least 2 acoustic songs on every record. And just from a person that I met very early on when I was in the Scream, I had the good fortune of meeting Peter Frampton and Steve Marriott. They were actually putting Humble Pie back together again, and Steve Marriott just said something to me that just kind of like it really made me think. He said, if you can write a song on acoustic guitar and perform it for an audience, then you've got a good song. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, without all the stuff, the big drums, the reverbs, and all that stuff that we put on music to hide our flaws, he goes, if you can sit down and play the song with, just you stripped down with a great vocal, and you've got a killer thing, a killer song. So at that point, I just kind of started writing every song that I've ever written through the Scream, through Motley, Union, like every record I've ever done. It always started out on an acoustic guitar. So this time, instead of doing maybe 2 songs or 3 songs, I just said, screw it, let's just go for it and do the whole thing, you know what I mean? So we did the whole record acoustic, and, if you've heard it, you'll see it's just really, 12 songs stripped down to their barest. They're totally naked, and it's just my vocals and some killer harmonies. So it's been awesome.
Excellent. Well, it's cool that you're able to go out there and do this. I mean, obviously you've been involved with some higher profile projects. You mentioned motley-crue, and you did a stint in Rat for a while, and you and Bruce Kulick did the Union thing, and you obviously had your own band, The Scream, and you did a lot of things over your career. But yet you're still out there, slugging it out in the trenches, as it were, and keeping your craft alive. So what motivates you every day to go out there and do this thing? It's I got to be honest with you. It sounds cliched or whatever, but if you don't like what you're doing, get out of the kitchen or whatever. It's like I actually enjoy playing music. I love being in a recording studio. I love playing live, you know what I mean? The thing that makes it a drag sometimes is more of the business, and that's why you get a manager. You know what I mean? You tell them kind of what you want to do, and you hope that they can figure out a way to make things happen. So, there was a while there where I was kind of discouraged with the music business, and I kind of just said, screw it, and I went and I just played guitar with Rat. So that, because I was frustrated with, how radio stations are and, the politics in like the record labels. But eventually I just said, you know what, this is what I was put on earth to do. I think I'm good at what I do. So I just need to trudge forward, you know what I mean? And just do my thing, do what I do, and, whatever. So I just been, I just love playing. So that's the thing. Like, I just, and a friend of mine told me, he goes, you're in the trenches, just like you said, you're slamming away, you're doing your thing. He goes, just don't ever get frustrated again. Don't get discouraged, because at the end of the day, all it takes is one song to turn everything around for you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's what I keep the faith in. You know what I mean? That hopefully I'll do that one song that'll turn everything around, and everybody will realize what's going on here. So.
Well, when you were in Rat, obviously you played acoustic, or not acoustic, but rhythm guitar, behind Warren D. Martini, who obviously is a great guitarist in his own right. And you just mentioned the fact that you wanted to, finally got the fire or the spark to go out there and do your own thing. Did you basically leave Rat on your own accord, or was there any kind of problem within the band or relationship-wise that you just decided, you know what, this isn't for me anymore?
No, a little bit. It's like, but it's like anything, like every relationship you have, there's going to be ups and downs in it, and there was times when, we all bickered and fought and yelled at each other and all that other kind of shit. But at the end of the day, I just kind of said, I'm kind of ready to do my own thing.
Right. Well, in your current position of going out there and playing your songs and whatnot, where is your strongest audience in the world right now? Are you mostly based here in the U.S., or is there a demand for you in the European markets, or what are you seeing out there?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I just did a run in Europe. I did 32 shows in 35 days. The shows were amazing. It's so weird. I had to actually leave. I couldn't finish all the shows. I had to come home because I had shows booked here. So there's probably another 35 or 40 shows that I could do over in Europe. But the audience that came, I had a great turnout every night. The audience was really into it, singing along. It's so weird to see people that, different countries that don't speak a lick of English, but they know all the lyrics to the songs.
Right.
So, I know I have a bunch of fans here in America, but it's so weird. Like, I think overall America is a little bit more faster paced than a lot of other places. So, people tend to move on to the next thing really quick here. We're over in Europe. I think that there's still kind of, a guy like me coming over there and playing for him. They still get off on it. And, so I would say right now I think I'm probably a little hotter in Europe than I am in America, but that's okay.
Well,
I'll play wherever anybody wants to hear me play.
Right. Well, they're not as jaded over there, and they're a little more loyal to their favorites.
Well, they just like music, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, to them, like, I see it a lot of times in New York or L.A., these bands will come to town, and the guys in the audience just stand there, and they got this, like, whole impress me thing. And it's, it's a shame, like, over there, they just get so enthusiastic about the music, and they want to talk to you, and they're yelling out song titles, and it's weird. Like, I'd get off stage, and I will always go sit at the bar and sign some autographs and talk to the fans, and they just literally line up, and they just want to talk and take a photo with you. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. But I'm like I said, I'm hoping that I can, turn some things around here, and let people know that there's a little bit more to me than just that guy that screamed Hooligan's Holiday on a record or whatever. I was just trying to show everybody a new side of me, and maybe this record will help, and I'll pick up some fans that maybe necessarily wouldn't buy a Union record or a Motley record or whatever. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
Well, speaking of your fans, John, I mean, obviously you're, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way at all, but obviously John Corabi is not a household name. And you mentioned fans, which, obviously you're very appreciative of your fans. What is your thoughts on people who are your contemporaries who charge fans for an autograph, a picture, or to join their fan club in order to meet them?
Well, I think some of it's just crazy. Like,
I don't want to say crazy. You know, I just did something. A couple of places overseas set up this thing where they wanted to do one of those meet and greets. And when we go over there with ESP to Europe, we also do a meet and greet. But the thing that we do, like, different, and I insisted on it on this tour as well, there's maybe like 10 or 12 people, 15 people that came backstage to meet me and hang out with me for a little bit. And, you know, I just told my tour manager overseas, I said, listen, if they're going to pay anybody like $100 or whatever it is that they're paying to come backstage and get photos, and I go, I want to give them something for their money. So the promoter in Germany set the whole thing up, and he basically said, all right, it's $100, but I made sure that at least, you know, they came back. We got to hang out for, you know, probably half an hour. I sat and talked with a lot of them, had a cigarette. We took some photos. I signed some stuff, everything that they had. And then I made sure I gave each one of them a T-shirt, an album, and a photo.
Well, it sounds like a cool deal to me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Now, the ones like, you know, I don't mean any disrespect. Hey, you know, if Motley and Kiss and all these guys can get away with charging $1,500, then that's their business. It's got whatever. I think it's a little crazy in these times, you know what I mean? Like, with the economy being the way that it is, you know, I don't know how, to be honest with you, some of these fans come up with the money, you know what I mean? But it's just crazy to me. Like, I just, you know, as big of a fan as I am of, you know, the Beatles and Zeppelin and Aerosmith, I wouldn't pay that money to see anybody. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, everything within reason. I think ticket prices are just out of control, though, too, but whatever.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about this new CD, John. It's John Corabi Unplugged. You've got some new material on there, as well as some of the material you've done with some of your past projects. Tell us a little bit about the original material that's on this.
Well, there's you know, when I say new songs, a couple of them have been around for a little bit, but they've never been released. I never put them out. It's basically, you know, I do these acoustic sets, and like I said, I've always written on acoustic. And you know, the last probably year or two, I've been going out with an acoustic guitar. I toured with Cinderella, and I've done a bunch of stuff, and I just played a bunch of different songs that, you know, I tried out a bunch of different songs, and the ones that I felt I got like the best response from, I kind of put on the record. I took 2 Scream songs, 2 Motley tunes, 2 Union songs, and I tried to change them. I think Father, Mother, Son's pretty true to the original. But the rest of the stuff, I tried to change it up a little bit so that it was, you know, obviously a little different. And then I got 5 or 6 new songs on there, you know, and like I said, I just stripped them down to their barest form. We just did 2 acoustic guitars, a bass. We didn't even use drums. We just used all percussion stuff. And then it's me singing with all the guys in my band are great vocalists. So we just put like 3-4 part harmonies on it and just had fun with it. You know what I mean? I just figured this is something different. It's my first real solo record, so I just put it out there and see what happens with it.
Right. Well, who are you playing with these days?
Well, I've got a band. My bass player Topher Nolan's been with me for a while. He did a run with me in 2010 electrically. He's been with me for forever. He's like the veteran. And then I got a guitar player named D.A. Carcos, he's a madman. He's like a producer, songwriter. He was a lead singer in a band in New York, but a great songwriter, great guy. And then we just got a gentleman named Cheney Brannon, who is the drummer from Collective Soul. He played with them for a while. So you know, it's a cool band. It's a lot of fun. At some point, I think I'm going to add another guitar player, but right now I'm doing a lot of the guitar work with DA, and we're just having fun, man. You know, it's like, now I want to get this record out there and just get out and start playing. And,
you know, pretty much everything you hear on the record, if you've heard it from top to bottom, this band can go out and play live, and it'll sound exactly like the record.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
well,
it's pretty cool. It's a great band.
Well, are you getting any offers, you know, from, you know, some, say, larger, you know, performing acts to come out there and be the opener for them? Are those kind of offers coming in for you, or are you basically...
Yeah, there's a little bit of talk. I mean, to be honest with you, though, like, the record was supposed to come out on a different label. At the 11th hour, the original label pulled out, and Rat Pack Records came into the mix really late in the game, but they've been doing an amazing job for us. You know, so right now, like, in all honesty, today was my first... We're kind of doing it ass backwards. I mean, we put the record out first, and now I'm doing the press. Normally, you would do the press for a couple of months and then put the record out, but, you know, because of the circumstances, it's backwards. So right now I'm just kind of doing the press. I'm getting through the holidays. I've got a couple things lined up until probably the end of January, beginning of February. I just want to get through that, and then we're sitting down and we're talking to some other people about, you know, tours and different things, and, you know, hopefully by the summer we can nail something down and, you know, negotiate something and get out there and start playing. But really, to be honest with you, the record's only been out 2 weeks, if that. I think it's 2 weeks. And, you know, like I said, we're just getting to the press stages now, and we're sending out copies to, like, radio stations and different fanzines and magazines and websites, and so we'll see what happens, you know. But right now, it's just kind of in the we're just getting this ball rolling. So all that other stuff will come.
Excellent. Well, John, we're glad to see that you're out there still, you know, doing what you do and enjoy what you do, and you know, bringing your craft to the people, and you know, all I got to do is I take my hat off to you and salute you for, you know, sticking with it for all these years, and, you know, giving the fans a treat. And I hope, you know, when you do your shows here in the U.S., you get a good audience and people go out there and buy the new CD.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears, buddy.
Excellent, John. Well, where can people find you on the web? I'm sure you got some kind of a Facebook or a website.
No, I have a John Corabi Music Facebook page. I have johncorabi.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on MySpace. And then if they're looking for the record, they can buy it on iTunes. They can get it from ratpackrecords.com. And also, they can get it from Amazon right now. You know, we're working on the distribution thing and getting it into regular stores as I speak. So, I'm out there. It doesn't take it's not hard to find me. So.
Absolutely, John. All right, John. Well, we're glad you took a few minutes out of your time to talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. Go pick up the new release from John Corabi, Unplugged, on Rat Pack Records. And, John, as a tradition, we always let the artist pick a closing song from the new release and maybe tell us a quick story about it.
Well, let's do something a little different, and let's play. There's a song on the record called "Everything's All Right." It's basically a Union song. But if you really listen to the lyrics closely, I think you'll figure out what it is that I'm talking about. But when I wrote this song we were doing the Union album, I had the music and I had the melody, but I had no lyrics. I was really struggling to come up with something to write about. And I took my son to go get ice cream. We jumped into my car, and they used to have this radio station in L.A. called it was 24 hours of Beatles, 7 days a week. And I was just kind of sitting listening to them, and it just kind of dawned on me. I'm like, man, this line, like what those guys accomplished in 5 or 6 years will never happen again. And it was weird. Like, I went home, and I immediately started writing lyrics. But what I did is I took Beatles titles and phrases from their songs, and I put it together, and I made lyrics, and the song's called Everything's All Right. So check it out. I think it's a cool tune, but it's my tip of the hat to the Beatles.
Excellent.
And just for the record, I did it 10 years ago. Apparently Rolling Stone just did an article about Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's new record, he did a tip of the hat to the Beatles where he kind of did the same thing.
Nice.
He took song titles or whatever, and everybody's like, oh, my God, it's a genius. So I'm just saying, just for the record, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I did it 10 years ago.
Excellent. All right, John, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. Go pick up the new one, John Corabi Unplugged on Rat Pack Records, and this is Everything's All Right, exclusively here on your Classic Metal Show.